Let's just talk about highlights of each of the concerts. We're going to start off as it's called, The Greats, Watts Returns for Grieg.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I mean, we're bringing, a real true American piano legend back to San Antonio after, I would say, 15 years, probably. And so it's really wonderful to have him back with one of the most romantic and one of the most loved piano concertos, the Greek. And we are finishing the concert with Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony, which we have played last time in my first season when we did that all 6 Tchaikovsky symphonies in 2 weeks. So we actually performed the Tchaikovsky 5 only on one evening, not on the full weekend. So it has been really a long time for most people to have heard that masterwork. And we start with Anne Klein's, the wonderful American composer Anne Klein. She was
I'm completely unfamiliar with her.
She was composer in residence of no other than the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Amazing composer. She wrote this Masquerade, which is a beautiful short piece, very creative thinking, but also really fun and easy to listen to in a way. Amazing piece, Masquerade.
Well, the following month we welcome again Augustin Hadalik, a marvelous violinist.
Who everybody fell in love with here. So he's coming for the 3rd time to San Antonio. He played the Beethoven violin concerto with us. He played the Tchaikovsky violin concerto with us, and now he's performing Dvorak. Joshua Gerson is the guest conductor. We have, for the Bernstein year, 100th anniversary of his birth in 1918, we have Jeremiah on the program, which I think is his first symphony. Great, wonderful piece with our first ever singer in residence, Veronica Williams.
Singer in residence?
Yeah, because she's going to be performing 3 times this season with us. So Jeremiah, Smetana, Dvorak, it's going to be a very colorful and beautiful program, and with one of the greatest violinists of his generation. You say, well, he's one of the greatest violinists now.
And then the following month, in November, we've got Beethoven's 6th, his Pastoral Symphony with Weber and Prokofiev Sinfonia Concertante, which I love those. It's such a wonderful voicing for orchestra.
Well, the Sinfonia Concertante is one of the most difficult cello concertos ever written. And the great Lynn Harrell is coming. I mean, that's another legend. Same as Andrew Watts. It's like the true cello legend. Even before Yo-Yo Ma, American cello legend, entered the orchestra, at a very young age, the Cleveland Orchestra, with George Shell, and made it up to the principal chair. And then even for that, he was too big. And
well, speaking of great violinists, later in November, Akiko's going to, I guess, conduct, and Eric Gratz, our concertmaster, is going to perform
the Bernstein Serenade.
The Bernstein Serenade.
Again, Bernstein 100. We still celebrating his birthday with one of his major works, really, and the Bernstein Serenade for strings and solo violin is really one of the most marvelous pieces he has written. And our own Eric Gratz is performing. This is a program basically I wanted to bring back from the 2 programs we canceled earlier the season, and that was Akiko's and Eric's appearance as soloist and guest conductor. So,
well, in 2019, we're going to enjoy Brahms' 4th Symphony, Mozart's Piano Concerto Number 24, and then a Passacaglia by Tan Dun.
Tan Dun's Passacaglia is a fantastic piece that actually is an interaction piece and that allows the use of cell phone, where we have the voices of birds, that you pre-download, and then the audience and orchestra members use their cell phone and play these birds.
Are we going to do that?
Yes, and interact with the orchestra, and then the orchestra takes over, and it's a Passacaglia. The Passacaglia is, of course, also the last movement of Brahms' 4th Symphony, is a Passacaglia. So I thought this is a nice connection of a new version of a Passacaglia, which is actually a Baroque, dance. So we bookend with these 2, and we have Gabriela Montero, the Venezuelan star pianist, who's coming to us to play Mozart piano concerto, and she is known for amazing improvising skills. So she will probably come up with a cadenza that nobody has ever heard, because she's improvising it at the moment. And she also does that with the audience sometimes, that she comes out and asks for themes and then improvises on them. And I think that's a wonderful gift to share with the audience.
Is there going to be a heads up to the audience during the performance as to what to download, or can we tell them now so they can come in?
Now is a little bit early, I think, but yes, it will be in preparation to the concert. They will know exactly and when to.
Okay, heads up, audience. There's going to be a
finally
final call for you.
You can leave on your cell phones, and they are useful.
Well, I am so delighted to see that you're going to do Mahler 9.
So am I.
If there's a more gorgeous symphony, I don't know what it is, especially the final movement.
The final movement, the acceptance of death,
And Mahler always was living under that specter that if he wrote 9, he'd die like Beethoven, and that would be the end.
Well, he didn't die like Beethoven.
But he didn't die.
He did die differently than Beethoven. The thing is that he started 10 before 9 in order to escape that curse, which is, of course, a little bit silly because mathematics don't really apply to destiny. But also,
he did die after 9.
Yeah.
Even though it was his 10th.
Yeah, because you try to cheat with numbers, it doesn't work. But you can feel in 9. I mean, he had a heart condition.
Yeah.
That is something that is it's producing anxiety, because we don't think about our heart. We never do. But if you start thinking about it, it's a frightening thought. And I think this was what Mahler is dealing with. So in a certain way, Mahler's Ninth Symphony for me is a farewell to a lot of things, but also to the symphony as we know it, to an old world as we know it, to a morale and standards as we know them. Remember that actually World War I already destroyed these values using gas. During,
this was written before World War I.
Exactly.
So.
But I'm saying, creative people are usually visionaries, and sometimes a little bit psychic in what they predict. And Mahler 9 definitely is this piece that in a visionary way turns that page without making predictions, but it's a farewell to something that we have lost. And I think with Mahler 9, though it's about death, also I think it's also a hope of something that we can resurrect. Of values, and Mahler 9 is all about the values of humanity.
And this is not only fabulous symphony, but a huge statement by Mahler of all that has preceded him.
Yeah.
This was a look backward and I guess a little morose look forward.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interestingly also that he doesn't go beyond, like in Mahler 2 and Mahler 3, where he uses the chorus, and Mahler 8, of course, where the chorus is the dominant part, and singing. In Mahler 9, he really focuses to the roots of an orchestra. Doesn't go even overwhelmingly big in the brass section. Woodwind section, yes, is bigger than normal, but so for him it's like decibel won't express what I have to say.
No.
It's not that at all. There's a lot of interior reflection in the piece, but God, it's powerful.
Well, I am so thankful that you have done something that is so rarely done, and that is the gift of the Brandenburgs. We're going to hear all six
of them in one night.
That is so unusual.
That's very unusual, and of course, it's an amazing experience. It's once in a lifetime experience. I take Baroque music very seriously. Being married to a viola da gamba player who came out of an entire Baroque
Tell
family
us
of
as
Baroque
well,
musicians.
please, when you're talking about her and Jeanette, who's going to conduct and play, I guess, from the harpsichord.
Yeah, she plays conduct from the harpsichord. Jeanette Sorel, coming to us from Cleveland, from the what's this? Well, you need to look up the orchestra, Apollon.
Okay, we'll look it up.
The Apollon Musette. No, it's not Apollon Musette. It's Apollo. It's orchestra. So, but the important thing about you have to cut a little bit here and there. The important thing about Jeanette Sorel is in why I'm really take Baroque music seriously, but you have to take the performance practice aspect, even with a modern orchestra, very seriously. You can't just approach it with a 19th century or 20th century approach. You have to see the performance practice aspect of this music. And Jeanette Sorel is a wonderful artist who knows how to work with a modern orchestra to make them play stylishly appropriate.
And yet this will be a Baroque orchestra in size and strings only, per se?
Yeah, well, we're just following Bach's lead here, but we don't play on period instruments, but we play with that knowledge. And that's the important thing. I mean, actually, we always play with period instruments when it comes to strings because they haven't changed significantly. I mean, except for gut strings and a few other things, and the shortage of the. But that's minor detail.
I loved your title for it. It's called "Heaven's Gift: The Brandenburgs." Who Bach played or had a sponsor?
Well,
where did the name Brandenburg?
It's written for the court of Brandenburg, for the court.
For the court of Brandenburg.
Yeah. So this is a commission piece.
I mean, Americans know Brandenburg other than from the music by the gate.
But the gate of Brandenburg is in Berlin.
Brandenburg Gate.
The state of Brandenburg is the state that surrounds Berlin. So it's like if Berlin, but Berlin is not the capital of the state of Brandenburg. That is Potsdam, which was the residence of Frederick the Great. Oh. So we're going deep back into Prussian history here, pre-German, unified German.
Well, we skip forward now into February, and Victor Falkhoff is coming to play a Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto No. 2, and then I guess in the final will be the Schumann Symphony, the Rhenish.
My first piece, by the way, my debut piece with the San Antonio Symphony, 2009, I think. Yes, Victor Falkhoff actually played in San Antonio a lot because he has a lot of friends here. He was brought to us actually as a friend of Lachesa Kostov, who now is the assistant principal at the Baltimore Symphony. He was a section player here at the Symphony, and so he became friends with a lot of musicians in the city. He played with Camerata and played with a lot of musicians in the city. But he's at his own right. He's a fantastic solo pianist, and so I was really happy. I heard him a lot of times, and I really think he's a super gifted, wonderful pianist. And he brings this capacity of playing chamber music actually to us with the Tchaikovsky Second Piano Concerto, which has, as a middle movement, basically a piano trio. So with the first violin and the cello, playing a trio, a triple concerto in a certain way, at a slow movement. The second piano concerto by Tchaikovsky is not performed that often, but it's really a true gem of that genre.
It's eclipsed by one tremendously, I guess.
Yeah,
isn't it,
yeah.
really? Yeah. We're followed in March, the first week in March, by British classics, although Beethoven's not British and neither is William Walton, Walton is British.
Of course.
I'm thinking of his American counterpart. But Vaughan Williams, Walton, and then Elgar squared, because we've got the wonderful Enigma variations about all of his friends in Pomp and Circumstance.
And Pomp and Circumstances, and we have the master singers also performing in this program a few English a cappella songs, and then joining us for Land of Hope and Glory during the Pomp and Circumstance March number 1. The Beethoven came to us at a very last minute when we had this fantastic offer that Stephen Huff was free in that week. Originally I had the Haydn London Symphony surprise in it, but now the surprise is Stephen Huff, a British pianist.
Oh, okay.
So
that's the British.
So that's the British thing. Well, look, I don't believe in nationality really as the most important.
Music is universal.
Yeah, and Beethoven is a world heritage composer. There's no question about it. But Stephen Hough is a British pianist with a very good sense of British humor, and just a wonderful pianist. So I could not turn down that possibility and have him perform with us. Beethoven's Second Piano Concerto, which is an amazing, underrated piece, like so full of humor and so full of finesse and interest, interesting chamber music qualities.
Mm-hmm. I'm such a great advocate for Elgar's music. Yes, some of it is trite, but the Enigma variations and this homage to his friends, in some cases satirical.
Oh, in a lot of cases,
huge satire.
Yeah, Elgar is, Elgar gets me all the time. I'm a big fan, actually. Sometimes if I don't have to look for box office or people with familiarity, I'm a big fan of his symphonies too. I would have programmed #1, but give me a chance for that later. I think this is once we get deeper into Elgar.
Well, you and I were just talking about Mascagni the other day, and I'm delighted to see that in the end of March, you've programmed Mascagni's Intermezzo to Cavalleria Rusticana.
So now we enter the Culinaria Festival of the San Antonio Symphony. San Antonio is named City of Gastronomy by the UNESCO, which is an amazing thing.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of great chefs in town.
Well, because CIA is here.
The CIA is here, and we have a lot of very creative chefs that won a lot of awards. And so I said, why not embrace that nomination and turn the symphony for 3 weeks into a culinary destination as well. So we combine food and music. The first one is themed on Italian food and Italian American. As you know, a lot of Italian dishes invented in America have no Italian roots whatsoever. Chicken Alfredo, meatball spaghetti, Parmigiana, none of that. The eggplant Parmigiana is, but nothing is fried in Italy, as you know. So that doesn't work. And meatballs, when you tell meatballs in a spaghetti, the Italians just shriek. I have to say I like these dishes. Also the pizza with that dough like this, no, it doesn't exist. But again, it took us live on its own. And we want to showcase, but Italy now. So food becomes food and music, I think, belong together.
I like how you titled it Tuscan Tour of Taste. Little alliteration there.
Well,
Tuscan
this is a marketing
taste.
phrase. The Tuscan cuisine is actually not the dominant one in Italy so much. It's far more the south, and then, of course, the north with Modena and Parma.
Well, this concert at the end of March is going to have a lot of singing in it, too.
A lot of singing, and has our own David Portillo, this beautiful tenor who's born and raised in San Antonio and is now on the international stage, representing the city of San Antonio. So we start with Rossini. Rossini, by the way, a composer who dedicated his life after composing to cooking. So his recipes are not as known as his operas, but the Tornado alla Rossini, which is a filet de boeuf, like a filet steak with a slice of foie gras on top. Delicious. So we'll see what dishes we can discover during that tour. And it's a lighter program in a certain way, with a lot of shorter...
Arias by Donizetti, thank you.
Yeah,
Can't
we've
beat
Donizetti, but we have also Tchaikovsky's Capriccio Italien in it. So we have some meat.
And you made me happy with the Puccini Intermezzo from Lescaut.
Which is an amazing piece.
Oh, my gosh.
So, and then, of course, that theme continues for 3 weeks. So the next week will be bring Jeff Kahane, whose his performance was canceled the last season. So he's coming back, and he will conduct. So he play the Ravel piano concerto and conduct at the same time, which is one thing when you do it with a Mozart piano concerto.
This is not this left hand, though. This is
the G major.
Oh, the G major. Oh,
so
wonderful,
but very tricky piece. So it's gonna be a great challenge also for the musicians, I think, because it's already a difficult piece.
Yeah, I saw Bernstein play and conduct it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
You know why it happened? Because Marta Argerich canceled to play, so he just stepped in, genius as he is.
Yeah.
So this is a French program with wonderful music by Rameau, Berlioz, and of course La Mer. So I think the cooking that day will go into fish.
Do you have an encouragement as to which restaurant we should eat at before the concert?
It will be a whole package. It won't be just concert. So we have packages with pre-concert dinners at various restaurants, but we will also have tastings during the show because I'm also planning to cook one dish on stage before the intermission, and then that will be served to the audience in the intermission, like little appetizers. And the smells will go into the concert hall. So it will be the whole senses will be stimulating during these concerts. So I think in Jeff Kahane programs, I'm going to maybe cook with Damien Vatel or, another French chef in town. And we prepare bouillabaisse on stage or whatever, and serve something. And the third program then
April 12th, 13.
Will highlight España or Latin American or Mexican or Tex-Mex or everything that goes under this genre. So not just España.
With the Guadalupe Dance Company.
Yeah, because we presenting El Amo Brujo, so we'll have a few dances actually really danced. Again, cooking, food trucks. Of course, I think we probably have a taco truck competition that night. So it will be these 3 weeks, these are the 3 weeks prior to Fiesta, will really celebrate indulgence on all levels. And I think it's going to be a really fun festival.
The fun thing to see as well, I guess, with the dancers is going to be the Fancy Free from, I guess, on the town, isn't it?
Yep, from Bernstein. Yeah,
from Bernstein. Yeah. I love that.
No, this is, and then it's Jennifer Higdon's piece in there is also an amazing.
Breeze Serenade.
Yeah.
From Dance Card.
Yeah, Dance Card is amazing piece by Jennifer Higdon. So no, we have American always in there.
Then we're going to skip forward to the end of May, beginning of June, and you're back conducting, and Vadim is here to play his marvelous Stradivarius violin that I love so much.
The Leopoldauer, ex-Leopoldauer Stradivarius.
Gosh, what an instrument.
And what a player. He has been...
And he's going to do the Ravel, how do you say it?
Zigan.
Zigan. That's so
Zigan.
Difficult.
And
it's so wonderful.
The whole program is around that idea of Zigan, of that free spirit mentality.
The Brahms Hungarian dances, Kodai suite, Tchaikovsky souvenir in the life in the day in the life. Is that the day? That's Debussy. What is this? This is
Souvenir d'un lieu cher.
Yes.
Is a composition by it's a memory of a beloved place, if I translate it right.
Okay.
And that is orchestrated actually by Glazunov.
Really?
For violin and orchestra. It's a beautiful piece, amazing piece. So the combination of those two are fantastic. And this is all about this free spirit of also of Carmen. We start with a Carmen.
It's kind of got the feel when you talk about this of Roma, of
course,
of the gypsy.
Yeah, it is. It is about. That's what it is about. That's what it is.
That's
totally
what
yeah. So and what inspired a lot of musicians in the 19th century. Carmen, Verdi, Sarasate, Ravel, they all inspired by this cultural influence. That what is interesting is, especially with the Roma, they're bringing, coming from India, moving across Europe. They have been really also a way of bringing different cultures into our lives, and that's an homage. And Hari János is a great piece that also showcases their most important instrument, the cymbalom, in the Hari János suite.
Well, you're going to cap the season next June, this June of 19, June 7, 8, with Veronica Williams, mezzo, who's going to sing
Alexander Nevsky's...
Prokofiev's Alexander Nevsky?
Yeah. So the music to Alexander Nevsky, which is a Sergei Eisenstein film, which is...
Was it an opera?
No, it's a film. It's the music to a film. The film is about the Mongol invasion. You have to watch it.
This is this awful movie you were telling me about.
Well, the movie is pretty hilarious yeah, it's actually really fun to watch because, well, you know, it's a Soviet film that was made to teach history in a certain way. I think.
Is that your way of saying propaganda?
It's beyond propaganda. It's actually, if that's propaganda, it doesn't really work. I think they were very good at propaganda movies, but this is not even propaganda movie. It's just, I don't want to judge it too much, but the only thing I can say, how somebody like Prokofiev got so inspired to write the most amazing score is quite extraordinary. So the discrepancy of that part, and then you write a film score that is just mind-blowing, and that's why the suite that he made out of that is actually one of his strongest works. Alexander Nevsky, one of the most amazing scores he has ever written. So I'm flirting with the idea of showing images, but when watching the movie, there is too much unwanted comedy in it that is not then reflected in the music, which is taking it really seriously.
Well, talk to me now about the final piece, the Mussorgsky, arranged by Ravel. What is that?
The Pictures at an Exhibition is a piece that nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's never played.
I thought it was Rimsky-Korsakov.
No. This is Mussorgsky.
This is the Mussorgsky.
Mussorgsky Pictures at an Exhibition, which of course is probably, if it's under the 10, it's definitely under the most
played.
The 10 most popular and most played pieces. So it doesn't take much creativity to know this is something that sells. But
speaking of images, I hope that we would project the images then.
That is
of
also
those pictures.
But that's what Nevsky and Alexander Nevsky and Prokofiev and Mussorgsky, with his homage to his friend, have in common. The pictures that inspired him to write Pictures at an Exhibition are not very powerful. Baba Yaga, for example, it is just a stupid little clock. It's not something as giant as it sounds. Or even the Gate of Kiev on the picture is not as.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that is the interesting thing, that for Mussorgsky it was not about the art. He was an architect. Hartmann was an architect and not really a great artist, but he died young and he was a big friend. And the emotion that Mussorgsky brought into that go way beyond this exhibition.
Much like Prokofiev going way beyond the
Eisenstein.
Eisenstein.
And that's why I paired those two things, because I really think it's fantastic how music elevates something that is actually quite banal. But then it takes it to the next level. To a certain degree, we have that today with some of our movie composers who can elevate. I mean, you basically, if John Williams writes the score of a movie, you already know it's going to be fantastic, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Maestro.
Thank you.
And I look forward so much to this 18-19 season that's so varied and so...
Our 79th season. So
79 seasons.
1 more year and we are turning 80.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.